Hello everybody. Cast your mind back to this one. See who remembers this one. I might not sing this very well. I think even at the time I struggled to sing it. It's a kingdom melody. See if I can just remember this bit of it. It goes off something like this. But as for me, determined I shall be to live eternally in my integrity. Yeah, it's not in my key, but I certainly remember it. Now, whether that was about in the songbook round about 1969, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind being corrected. But why am I saying 69? I don't know. It was when I was at Melbourne Assembly. Same time as Nathan Knorr was given the discourse. I was 6 years of age when Nathan Knorr was the main speaker. I think he gave the main talk on the Sunday. For those Jehovah's Witnesses that know, you will know that Nathan Knorr is one of the governing body members. And he's somebody that they hold in high esteem to this day. How do I know? Well, let's just say only 2 days ago his name came up in conversation. And I could tell by those that were around me, who I was talking to, that they certainly hold him in high esteem to this day. Unlike Raymond Franz, who they won't hold in high esteem for reasons that you know about and I know about. So Nathan Knorr, who probably at one time was the president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Hoping my facts are right this time. So he was the one really that would put signature to paper whenever monies had to be transferred to anywhere in the world regarding the preaching activity and regarding having buildings constructed. It would have been Nathan Knorr that would have overseen those events. Now, I do remember that one of the reasons why Raymond Franz decided that he couldn't go on in the position that he had was this fact. It was all to do with the monies that were being moved at the time. And he couldn't remember and he couldn't recall. He couldn't recall them ever going in to have a prayerful consideration over where the money went. And you can tell that this troubled him. If you just look at some of the Raymond Franz videos of him recalling that story, you can see he's really troubled on that. He just couldn't get his head round it that they could make a blanket decision on where millions and millions was spent in the world. And not once can he recall them going into a secluded room and having prayerful consideration. And this is probably one of the primary reasons which put that big question mark on his faith. And the main reason why he decided that perhaps, maybe God isn't using this religion. Well, my own opinion about that right now. I haven't had anybody say to me, "Here, Martin, look at this other religion. These are closer to your former religion and they're doing a lot more of what Jesus Christ taught about." No one's come back to me yet and said why the Jehovah's Witnesses are preaching the good news of the kingdom, why they're announcing that Anglo-America will be the last world power before God's kingdom comes and takes rule. Nobody's getting back with any of those answers. I don't know why. You know, I keep asking the questions. Why is it that Daniel's prophecy predicts all the world powers, and then straight after Anglo-America, nothing? No Russia, no China, no Japan, no world power after Anglo-America. That is very worrying. Very worrying. And of course, we know why, in the Jehovah's Witnesses' eyes. It is God's kingdom that comes and smashes the feet of the iron and clay, which is the political instability of all governments today. It's just that we know that from history, Anglo-America have been ruling since the 1700s, and they are still effectively the world power today. Although there is a lot of pushing and shoving even within that structure. So no other religion is saying that God's kingdom is going to come and take rule. And no other religion drags themselves out of bed and stands in every major city in the world and doesn't say anything anymore. Just stands there with the Watchtower and the Awake. You either want a copy or you don't want a copy, but they don't really engage you anymore unless you go and talk to them, which I often do. I talked to two pioneer sisters in Manchester yesterday for about half an hour. Had quite a friendly chat with them. I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but they were really nice, you know. They weren't aloof. They weren't uppity up, you know. I'm not talking to you. They were very friendly, so I was very pleased about that. Would have been nice to have filmed it, naturally, but, you know, I had my film kit with me at the time. I had the Yellowtech mic, which is this one here, and I had my Sony X3000, and I had it in my bag. And I thought, well, hang about, how do I get it out now? Because the conversation's in mid-flight. It's difficult finding the right opportunity. And yet, if I would have got it out a bit earlier and then walked up to them, then they would have been completely on their guard. So I haven't really mastered the balance yet. It would be great to be able to just engage them and then say to them, I'd like to ask you a question regarding your religion, and can I interview you at the same time? And see whether they go with it. You know, as long as you keep it friendly and you don't let hostilities come into it, I can't see a problem with that. But I'll keep trying, and I'll look for another angle. You know, that's all you can do, isn't it? Right, so everybody's been raving about, is it Leah Rimini? You know, I don't know much about the lass, but I mean, I now know that she used to belong to the Scientology religion, which for me is a cult. I've always seen the Scientologists as a cult religion. And everybody's saying that there's remarkable similarities between the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Scientologists in the respect of leadership. Yes, I can see that. How the leaders seem to use threatening tactics to keep people in their place. Yeah, I can see that. So they have a lot of similarities in one regard, and they have a massive, massive gulf of difference in another, because the Scientologists, they're not announcing God's kingdom, as the Jehovah's Witnesses are doing. So there's a huge difference, and that is a mammoth difference, absolutely mammoth at this stage. The Scientologists have more of a belief in, is it aliens? Am I right? Am I wrong? I mean, I should have been a Scientologist because I did see a UFO in 1978. And my opinion about that will never change even to this day, because I knew it wasn't anything to do with the military in Australia at the time when I was on Avalon Beach. I knew it had a lot to do with something from another, well, not this world anyway. I don't know what it was, but maybe I should have been a Scientologist, because I do share that kind of side of things with them. But the Jehovah's Witnesses, oh, they're getting battered. They're getting battered from pillar to post. And do they believe what you're saying about the court cases, and do they believe what's happening in the news? Well, they're aware of it, because the two pioneer sisters that I spoke to in Manchester, they were aware of quite a lot. You would be surprised what they knew. And they just tactfully said, we would probably not go out of our way to listen to anything like that, because it doesn't really promote happiness and peace within a person. I said, well, yeah, I understand what you mean by that. Yeah. And she said we would rather just leave and trust in Jehovah. Well, we've heard them say that many a time, haven't we? Leave it in Jehovah's hands. And if you leave it in Jehovah's hands, it gets sorted out eventually. Yeah. But our idea of time in relation to Jehovah's idea of time is totally different. We may think that 30 years and 100 years is such a long time, but it isn't, is it? In the realms of Jehovah, if you think about 1,000 years to man is one day to God. So there's that huge time chasm difference between earthly thinking and heavenly thinking. And we don't always appreciate that. We often want things given to us, and we're not always willing to wait for those things. So we may think that preaching about the end of the system, tribulation and everything else is a long time. Well, yeah, in human thinking, it is a long time. But it is not a long time in heavenly thinking. And that's something that I've had to think about just lately to explain why people are sort of giving up. They're sort of turning away from God. I don't know whether it's a good thing that we do that. I would have thought it's better to have a relationship with God than deny that he exists. So I can't share everybody else's opinion at the moment on that. I certainly do believe that we are definitely living in the last days, and I mean the final last days. And I've been looking out for this composite sign, and not just one thing. I actually believe that I will see all these things happen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things happen one after the other within a small space of time. And I know that if I see those things, I will then know that we are close to the tribulation. Because every day that passes, it almost feels as if any day now, just as in the days of Noah, it was just a normal day. You know, as you know, the Bible says that people were just living their lives and going about their merry way, and until the rains came and swept them away. I absolutely know for a fact that that's exactly how it will be in our time. I'll end up going to work one day, and within getting up, the economies will have crashed, and that'll be it. We will be in the tribulation. I believe it will be as startling and as quick as that. And once it starts, yes, it is definitely the countdown to Armageddon. So no wonder a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses have thought about committing suicide this side of the tribulation. I've actually heard their thinking on this when some have done it, and they've said they don't stand a chance of passing through Armageddon and getting through the tribulation, so they'd rather take their life and hopefully receive a resurrection into the new system. I mean, that's quite sad, isn't it, that they should be thinking like that? Have you thought like that? Yeah, I have. You know, I thought maybe I should do it. Maybe I should devise a way of taking my life, and then I can just skip the next stage and hopefully get a resurrection. But I think with my luck, it won't work. I think I'll be just seen through. Too easy. Although I do have a friend that did hang himself, and yeah, Jehovah's Witness, yeah, it was, yeah, very sad. Yes, hung himself. His father found him. Yeah, it absolutely destroyed the family. So I can't do that to my mother, and my mother is still alive. My dad died a month ago or so, but my mother is still alive, and I couldn't impact her like that. I just couldn't be that selfish to do that to her. Because we are back talking again now, which is good. I went round the other day and I had a cup of tea and we talked, but we didn't talk about any religion or anything to do with the way I'm feeling at the moment. We were just respectful of each other's opinions, which is a way forward, and I'm hoping that we can build on that, and that'll be a great thing. So I'm just chilled here at the moment. This is my my crash out room. I've got my second computer here, one downstairs, and my Yellowtech mic, and I've just spent a lot of time in my room doing a lot of studying, not just religious studying. I've also got a lot of secular studying because I'm an engineer and I'm going to have to train up on certain jobs and what have you. And it's interesting life that I'm leading at the moment. And I don't know where it's going to lead. I don't know whether it's going to lead to further happiness or whether it's all going to come crashing down and come to nothing. And the money I've made this year, will I get to enjoy it? Because I've done quite well this year. I think I'm going to finish the year with about 50k. Yeah, that's good. I've had a really good year. And I've helped my sister along the way. My sister's disfellowshipped, but I certainly won't turn my back on her. So I'm having a little idle chat with you and reminiscing on the things that I've done and the people that I've met, the assemblies, international assemblies I've attended. And talking of international assemblies, 2019, they're bringing back international assemblies. And that is, woohoo, very worrying. Interesting, but worrying. Why are they deciding to do that then? Certainly it'd be a lot easier to protect God's people, wouldn't it, if they're all together in an international assembly? Anyway, my imagination's running over time. Well, thanks for listening anyway. Bye-bye. See you again.